So now I have invited colleagues that flow across the Atlantic Ocean from Canada and the coldest part of Canada, Alberta. So this guy flying over the ocean is called Ken Brizel. Ken Brizel is the CEO of ACAMP, but this guy has been working all his life in putting high technology and semiconductor in movement. He has been working at RCA, General Electric, AT&T, Lucent, and he won a major prize because he has been the guy that developed the QMOS product line in our digital industry. So this guy is really a guy that is willing to change a lot of things with system in silicon, and he's coming from Alberta to invite us about seeing how we can cooperate with ACAMP. Aeronautics and Canada, here in Toulouse, we know the way to cooperate. But autonomous vehicle, not too much. So I think it's an opportunity. And I know that yesterday he do already some visit around Toulouse and he found a potential partner to cooperate. So please listen carefully and attract him during lunch because this guy is willing to cooperate.
Thank you, Jean-Luc. So I'm coming from Canada. If you didn't know, it's over there. And it's part of North America, but it's not United States. So those are the basic benefits of Canada. Alberta is an interesting area. So autonomous systems has several key features in Alberta. It's not power drive trains, it's not necessarily batteries, but one of the interesting areas is the growth of oil and gas is huge in Alberta. So it's a very wealthy province. They've made investments in a variety of different areas, one being artificial intelligence. University of Alberta has spent a lot of money putting together a huge team in AI. And across Canada, you'd see some of the benefits of the investments that have been made in artificial intelligence. Alberta is one of the top 5 areas in the world to go. We have over 250 researchers just in the University of Alberta. Google DeepMind just moved in recently in the last year into Alberta, specifically to get close to University of Alberta. And then if you look at University of Calgary, I'll take a second, I don't have that slide. University of Calgary has been engaged in geomatics and mapping technologies, which is extremely important for autonomous systems. So there are key areas, I think, in Alberta that you would see. In power electronics, you would see some work that's been going on in semiconductors now for the last 10 years, specifically focused on high power, high temperature, and high frequency electronics. So those areas are important to oil and gas. Just understand it applies nicely into autonomous systems for those reasons. So this is where we're located. And what you'd find is that it's a very nice place to be, except right now there's about this much snow on the ground. So it's a cold place. But it has a fantastic infrastructure, and I'll talk a little bit more about some of the other work that's been going on in communication technologies in a couple slides from now. Higher education, just in the universities, over 130 students graduating from 7 major universities. Artificial intelligence, as I mentioned before, and high-tech technologies. I'm going to try to catch us up. Jean-Luc, I apologize. Advanced manufacturing and so forth across Alberta associated with oil and gas technologies. One of the things I wanted to explain also is connected vehicles. Communications, extremely important. Recently, an investment in Edmonton of over $4 million into connected vehicle technology, specifically on the infrastructure side to communicate to the vehicles. So this is important, places to test. There are places to test on the east coast of Canada as well as on the west coast now in Canada. In fact, I'll talk about the investment by TELUS, which is one of the major communication companies in Canada. And I can't forget to talk about ACAMP. ACAMP's now been around for 11 years. We're an advanced technology development group, starting to bring new technologies from the design all the way through simulation into manufacturing. Some of the government last year in December, because we are an industry-driven organization. We are not government. We're one of very few not-for-profits across Canada that is not government organized. But from industry, they will give us grants, and they have given us over the course of 10 years. We're now 11 years in business. They gave us $20 million. And in the $20 million investment that they've made, we've returned over 420 companies that we've worked with, developing over $500 million a year in sales. It's a very interesting metric of about 25 to 1 on the investment. So Alberta is very keen on making major investments, and this was a small investment and getting a big bang for the dollar. To what Jean-Luc asked me to talk about a bit more is a consortium that we created now about 3.5 years ago on autonomous systems. The government of Alberta, through what they called Smart Infrastructure and Transportation Initiative, invested a small amount of dollars into ACAMP to support the development of autonomous systems, which is not necessarily all the different things that we've been talking about here, more on the line of algorithms, development of security systems, and I'll bring that up now. So security and safety being the heart of this. We have a few startups we're working with on blockchain technologies, high-speed communications, perception in sensors, comprehension, machine learning, as I mentioned before, and artificial intelligence. The projection area on steering, braking, and transmission, the expertise is right here, not us. And then cellular, satellite, and wireless, there's a lot of applications being developed in Alberta. This comes out of the old Nortel organization, part of the communications area. We have over 56 companies that have joined us into the association or the consortium that we created, and everybody's welcome to join. It's a free membership. We only asked simply that you work on projects. And the kinds of projects that we've been working on, I'd like to show you a video, if I can. It's only 50 seconds, I know. So there's been some recent developments in the last month, actually, which I should mention. TELUS, which is a major supplier of communication technology in Canada, has decided to spend about $16 billion over the next 5 years in communication technologies in Alberta, just Alberta alone. In fact, they're going to be donating a 5G setup to ACAMP for testing 5G applications in edge computing, as well as just basic IoT applications. So we'll be working through that now. So partnerships are welcome in these kinds of things. Data visualization through a lot of the work that we've done in LiDAR and sensor fusion is a very important way of compressing the information so it could be transmitted. And so that's an area that ACAMP's been investing in. BYD, Chinese corporation doing battery technologies. In fact, when I speak to their executives, they say, hey, we make batteries, we're just building vehicles to sell more batteries. So it's an interesting area. They want to work on inductive charging technologies. Edmonton International Airport asked ACAMP to support them on building an autonomous ATV, specifically for security purposes, which is a very interesting side business for making autonomous vehicles a test, testing how they'd work. So we went off and built one. It took us about a year's worth of investment and 6 engineers, and they're using it now 24/7 for patrolling the airport. Solitaire, an emergency vehicle detection system. Again, the focus being here on intelligent ways to listen for emergency vehicles and determine the incoming angle of an emergency vehicle. So this technology has been patented to go and put ears on a car and to allow the outside to be listening, because you're making vehicles so quiet you can't hear it from the inside anymore when the windows are closed and everything you're driving along. This will hear an emergency vehicle up to 1 kilometer away and give you the angle of the incoming emergency vehicle, as well as whether it's a fire truck or an emergency EMS or what type of vehicle it is, just by listening. Air market, we're also inviting some of the drone technology companies to get involved. Take Me To It is an interesting technology. This is indoor positioning technology. Important point is when you drive into a parking area, parkade, you lose all GPS. This technology, by using audio beacons, by placing them every 80 feet, it will generate an indoor map of your local parkade and allow you to navigate the vehicle down into a parkade accurately and in 3 dimensions, X, Y, and Z, within 1 centimeter. So you get very accurate navigation. And then oil and gas and some LiDAR technologies for data visualization in drone technologies. And then finally, we've done some work recently with NASA in the United States on unmanned systems for tracking drones through cities, like you're going to hear about Amazon and others. This is technology to allow them to see microclimate weather throughout the entire city area. So they're using it in Reno, Nevada these days, flying about 50 drone companies. That's in short what we've been working on projects. ACAMP, as I mentioned before, is a not-for-profit organization. We're here to help companies develop advanced technologies, and that's what we've been doing now for over 11 years in Alberta. Thank you very much.